Hi everybody, this is Joseph and welcome to your 8th tutorial on QML programming. And as you can probably guess, if you've been watching the other ones, the next element that we're going to be using is the mouse area. We're going to be learning about using the mouse area now. So, we have the mouse area element and we have its properties underneath. We have it anchor filling into its parent. Let's stop that from happening. Let's actually, in the last tutorial, if you remember, we could take our text and we can highlight it and press Control C to copy it, or we could just cut it with Control X, and then we can go over here and place it right here. You may be wondering why I'm doing this, but you will see in a second why. So now the mouse area, we want that to anchor fill, which means fill the space area, okay? And a good way for you to look at this is to go over to the design area, okay? And we can see that if we click on the mouse area, it's all the way around the whole entire parent, which in our case was the root tangle. So it's completely filling the root tangle. It's filling in the root tangle. So if we go back over here, we can go to anchor fill and we can set it to be blue rec. Okay, so now when we run this, if we click on the red part, the red outside out here, right here, nothing happens. But if we click inside of the button, it quits the application because that's what it's told to do with Q quick there. Okay. Also, something is going on with the font here, and we can just simply, I'm just going to simply comment this out for right now, if it lets me here. And let's run that again, and the font is still not showing up, so something is obviously wrong here. I'll take a look at that later, but for right now we're working on mouse areas. Okay, so let's set an ID to the mouse area. We can say ID equals blue rec mouse area. Now, if you haven't noticed by now, you have to start all of your IDs with a lowercase, and then you can use camel casing along the way, meaning the R, the M, and the A are capitalized to indicate that it's a new word sort of deal, okay? So, that is that. Still don't know why that text is not working, but anyways. So now that we are entered into that, let's talk about some of the things that we can do. We can make so that hover is enabled, right? So we just type in hover enabled and we press true, okay? Alright, so we say, now to play with hovered, we can say on entered, and we can put our curly brackets around this if we want, right here, so we can add more and more and more things, just like it is around our on clicked. And we'll say, on entered, we'll turn blue rec dot color to equal brown. Okay, so let's take the gradient out of here, and we will set the blue rec rotation to be 45 degrees. Okay. And let's set the color of blue rec to be blue. Save this and run this. Now when we hover over it, there it goes. Oh, I know why the text isn't working. Because it is above, okay, it's above the blue rec. So how are we going to get around this? Oh, I know how. We're going to copy all of this right here, okay, and we're going to go down below mouse area here. See the reds? And we're going to put it right here, and we're going to say anchor in blue rec mouse area. Now let's run it, and there we go. Okay, but the text is not moving. Okay, so what we can do is back up here, we can set our rotation of our text to also be 45 degrees, also too. But we have no ID for the text, so we have to set an ID for the text. So ID We're going to call it foo. Foo text. Okay, and then we can go foo text dot rotation also equals 45 degrees. So let's run this. From blue, changes the color and rotates it. Kind of cool. So now let's do on exited, okay? Because we already have the on entered, we want to set it back to be what it was before. So we can just go in here, copy that, and we'll just set it back to be blue, set it back to be 0, and set it back to be 0. Let's save this and run this. And as you see, when we go inside of the rectangle, it turns it that way. When we go back out, it goes that way. In, out, in, out. There we go. All right. So now that we have that done, let's see what else we can do. We can always debug things if we want to. We can say on clicked, okay, we can say console log, and let's just put something in here for right now. We'll say hello from QML. Okay, save this and run it. There we go, inside of it. But now when we click on it, hello from QML down here, right? Or we could put something like bluerec.color. So now when we go inside of it, the color should be brown, and when we click on it, it gives us the actual HTML notation of the color brown, which is kind of cool. Let's see what else we can do. We can set all sorts of things, and we're going to be talking more about those things. But again, what else can we do? We can grab it, press the F1 key, go over, and just start looking at drags and drops, and on clicked, on double clicked, on position change, on press and hold, on released, so on and so forth. So we learned how to go and change to add hover enabled. We learned what on entered did and on exit did. We learned what on click did. We set it to fill the blue rec, and what I like to do is I like to take the anchors, okay? Another good practice sort of deal, okay, is we can say anchors, okay, and then instead of having our dot, okay, dot fill, we just take the dot out and we put one curly bracket to start out with, and then our bottom curly bracket, okay? So in this case, if we had a bunch of different anchors, say left and then left margin and then top margin, it'll look nicer for the people that are going through it. And another reason for comments too also, say you want to come back to this code 12 years ago, or 12 years from now, and you want to look at it, you might not remember what you were typing then. So you can actually enter in things like when the mouse area is entered, rotate 45 degrees and change color. Or say if somebody else comes along and sees your code and wants to adapt it, then they can see it, they can look at it and then use it. So we learned a little. Now we're gonna, if we look at our code here now, it looks kind of messy. It's all messy. Let's just take this gradient out of here, okay? And this here part, we don't need that anymore. And then we can leave our comments here, but it's still like all over the page, right? So what we can do is, there's something that's really cool about Qt here, is we can actually indent all of this automatically. Okay, so we can press the Control A button to select all of the text. Now we can press Control plus I, okay, and it'll indent all of our code for us and make it nice and neat looking so that the next person that comes along can see it and then they can change it, okay? So we learned about MouseArea. We learned about text and how the text has to be underneath to be able to be seen, as you guys just seen here. And yeah, so that's what we learned about. And in the next tutorial, we're going to be breaking up the button that we've made so far, and we're going to be using it in a different file and learning more about what we like to call properties. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have a good one.